Aloha, my name is Nancy Kerner, and I'm a holistic health practitioner, author, intuitive, and facilitator of women's circles and retreats for over 3 decades. I love my family and witnessing people break the shackles of fear and pain into love, prosperity, peace, and infinite possibilities.
Patriot Princess.
Tomorrow is 4/4/2024. Add the twos together, that's 4. So in a way, tomorrow is 4/4/4/4. 4 and 4 is 8. 4 and 4 is 8. 8 and 8. Q post 88. In Gematria, D is 4. Look at Q post 88. There's 4 Ds. Is tomorrow going to be D-Day? Military control and martial law. Strike. In bowling, a strike is marked with an X. X marks the spot. X. X makes me think of Q post 1100. Xmas in DC. Think mirror. DC mass exodus. Tomorrow, DC mass exodus. Strike. Is there an incoming strike coming tomorrow for a mass exodus? Numbers matter. Everything is a code. That's why there's even a book in the Bible called Numbers. Bible code 57. Wood 57. Like Lynn Wood. Lynn Wood keeps posting 777 every night. And he keeps posting, uh-oh, lights out. Uh-oh. Like Rutro 88. Q post 88. It's no coincidence. Tomorrow is 4/4. Add the twos together, that's 4. 4. So essentially tomorrow is a code. Everything is a code. The Bible was a code. How was the earth, everything created? By the Word of God. What is the Word of God? The Word of God is a vibration, is a code. Everything is a code. You live in a divine matrix. This is a divine matrix. Divine matrix 148. 1 plus 4 plus 8 equals 13. The day Trump was inaugurated, he was 70 years, 7 months, 7 days old. You can't make that up. 777. And on Easter, 3/31, Trump will be 77 years, 7 months, and 77 days old. Are you kidding me? You are in a divine matrix. The eclipse on 4/8/2024 is 6 years, 6 months, and 6 days from the last eclipse in August of 2017. It's no coincidence. Tomorrow is 4/4. Add the twos together, that's 4. 4. So essentially tomorrow is a code. Everything is a code. And look at the shirt that was added to George Magazine website for sale. Interesting. And look at Q post 844. There's 4 booms. And look at the number 844. Add the 4s together, that's 8. Q post 88. Are we going to see booms tomorrow? Boom, boom, boom.
Patriot Princess.
Aloha and welcome to the Prosperity Playground. This is where we are in the divine matrix. Pardon me. This is a place where numbers create the universe and decodes tell us the story of what's gone on. And today, Allison and I have put together a show that will excite you and also validate and affirm you in what we know to be the truth about the election fraud, the stock market, the gold, silver, Trump, Eric Trump is on fire. Oh my goodness, there's so much to share today. And yet I really wanted to just welcome everyone. If you're new to the Great Awakening, this is where we actually show you the truth about what's going on in the world and not what the fake news says. We have media companies pointing at each other, they're the fake news, they're the fake news. Well, we've been watching the fake news for a long time. We just didn't know what it was until Trump called it out. And so this is the truth as I see it, as I feel it, and as others do. We're individuals, and yet we're coming together in a collective quantum healing community in all over the earth. It's phenomenal. More people are waking up every day. So if you're new to the truth, welcome. We love you. We accept you. We rejoice in our hearts that you are waking up to see how the curtain call from our last show on Tuesday is playing out, because those actors, they're done. We're at the end game. We have seen and reported on Thursday or Tuesday that there is an escalation in a World War III scenario. Q Drops told us this would happen. We've known this since 2021. I've known it January. And it was the election fraud that woke me up, and where I discovered online communities all over the world who are searching for the truth about everything, like I was. And so it's a lot of people have cognitive dissonance. They live in fear. They live in a comfort of trusting big government to tell them what to do, to tell them how to think, to say, yes, we need more laws, rules, regulations. We need to silence people who speak on behalf of Trump. Those people are deplorables. And yet there's a great Bongino line that he says, let me see if I wrote it down here. He says, Trump supporters believe that liberals are good people with some bad ideas or misguided. And Trump supporters believe that liberals are good people with bad ideas. So what are you? Are you a good person or are you a bad person? I think that most of us, especially in my extended greater community in North America, we're good people. And, one religion, one geopolitical slant, that's not my cup of tea. My cup of tea is to be open to all beliefs, all different ways of prayers, as long as it's done in the positive for the good of humanity. And the people who are in the corporations that were trying to be taken over by the cabal, these are white knights helping those good people in those corporations to return to the source of their power in their businesses. And so this is a multidimensional, multi-geographical, multi-psyop experience we've been going through for the past 8 years. And this is we're close to, we've been seeing the disclosures all over the place. We've seen the lawfare, the where George Soros has paid for, bought judges, prosecutors, and especially in the DC District Court. And yet it's expanded to New York and other parts of the world. In Utah, my goodness, it's all over. The corruption is so bad that whole system needs to be revamped. Our judicial system is nothing of integrity. Nothing. Doesn't resemble anything of integrity at all for you, the people. We ought not be afraid of our judicial system, in my humble opinion. We ought to feel protected, not if we park in the front of the door at the airport like I did after 9/11, to get rammed by a cop in my face, jacked up on coffee, telling me I couldn't park there. And I said, I'm just waiting. See that woman right there? She's carrying her baby and a car seat and pushing a stroller. I'm picking her up. No, you leave now. That is not the way that we treat people. I am not afraid of the military. I'm not afraid of the men. And yet I know so many people. If they see my husband with a short haircut, they'll say, oh, it looks so militant. And it's just a short haircut. We give meaning. Nothing has meaning except the meaning that you give it, that I give it. And so are we judging people for the color of their hair, their tattoos, or lack thereof? For the symbols that we wear around our neck, our makeup, how do we judge people? I personally see the light in me sees the light in you. And then how you show up Are we a vibrational match? Are we on the same page? Or do we need a little more time to grow into who we are? And then maybe we'll come back together and meet again in the fourth, fifth, sixth, and higher dimensions. It's crazy. The ego has been running rampant on the mainland for so long. And I used to just love going to Hawaii because when I'm there in my retreats, we are in a vortex of creation. You are co creating your life. How's your life right now? Is it everything you want? Are you struggling financially? So many people are because the system was rigged against you to keep you working 40 hours plus a week, working perhaps more than one job, taking you out of your home from taking care of your children and into a corporate workforce where people have so many different variations of emotional maturity or lack thereof. Do people treat you with respect in your work environment? If you had all the money you needed to do, what would you create? What would open your heart, feel bliss, love, joy, harmony, and peace if you could spend your time creating what you really want to create? Like my friend Rita, who's an artist, and I shared her link in Telegram, and another woman saw it and said, "Thank you so much. Her artwork is so beautiful, and I want to get some one day." You know, it's not about everyone being the same. I'm not like you, and you're not like me. We can't put each other in the boxes because we are a snowflake in that our imprint is only you can do what you're doing and you're creating in your life. The challenge for me when I woke up 35 years ago to all this corruption in Washington D.C., the Federal Reserve, the IRS, the Vatican and England managing our gold. What happened to our gold? It was stolen. The corrupt system that we're in, the school system, the judicial system, and the financial system. This financial renaissance is something I've been holding in my heart for 35 years. I didn't get it. Why not everybody was given a level playing field to be powerful and prosperous people? So that's been my purpose and mission, is to help us heal the pain of our past so that we can be fully present in this moment. This divine, precious moment is the only one we have. We're not guaranteed to be here tonight or in the morning. So, how we show up for ourselves and for one another really tells a lot about us and our friends and family, because so many people couldn't hear us. They couldn't listen because it wasn't on mainstream media. If people didn't see it in the news, then what we were saying was conspiracy theories, which was created after JFK was assassinated. We have a lot to unpack around our history. And I love hearing Mark Z and Zester talk over on Mark Z's channel on YouTube. He does the best news segments in about 10 minutes into every show. You can grab his news segments because he covers what's going on in the financial world and other events in the world. He's really, really good at it. And I love seeing that they know they've already taken the deepest dive in history and are really sharp. They know about, the world and Tartaria. And, if you haven't watched some of Allison's videos that she's posted on Tartaria, I encourage you to take a look at it. Everything is about to change. Everything. Our history as we've known it has been a giant lie so that we can be controlled through the financial system. But I want to highlight one of the videos, segments, or series that Allison's been sharing, because it is like a review for me, for her, because we saw this playing out in politics while it was happening. One news show or podcast would be sharing what we saw to be the truth, and the other was just saying Russia, 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 Trump bad, Orange Man bad, cut off his head, get rid of him, lock him up, take his property. And so that's pretty obvious to me that that's not the truth, because when you're speaking the truth, you don't need to put people down. You don't need to call Trump supporters names. What we need to do is to trust our own inner intuitive intelligence system, our inner guidance, our higher power, our higher self, and not be manipulated into fear and division. That's not who we are. We're into peace, powerful, compassion, prosperity, healing, all of the good stuff. And the only reason that I'm here today is because I had to take a stand, because so many of my people, I know tens of thousands of people all over North America that I've met in the last 35 years. And we never talked politics. We always just talked about what was going on in our lives, our relationships, what our dreams and visions and goals were, our intentions were. And that's the life that we lived in up until Trump walked down that escalator, and then everything changed. So, yes, I do believe we are at the end. I love Patriot Princess talking about today. She said tomorrow, but that's today, the 4th. Now, when I was listening to Mark Z this morning, he had mentioned that he's getting so many reports of military coming in, Washington, D.C. and different cities, etc. So that is a clue. We've been waiting for what is going to have the appearance of World War III actually be the end of this psyop war, this information war, this exposure to the truth, the Great Awakening. And one of the most fantastic things about the Great Awakening that excites me is that you are going to benefit from it. You're going to benefit from the Nasara Jasara. You're going to have your automobile mortgages, all those credit card debts and loans forgiven, everything except your personal loans that you have an agreement, one person to another, that you will pay it back. And also, if you haven't noticed, we are talking about gold, silver, crypto, foreign currency. We're talking about the things that I've been passionate about for years. I started looking at currency trading with my husband in about 1990. So it's not new, yet it's never been like this. And for a little bit of money, you can go on eBay, you can buy currency, you can go to other places. So why don't we say hello, Miss Allison? Do we have some people? I see we're back on YouTube. Yay. If you ever are trying to watch us on YouTube, and I've been taken down for too many strikes, please go to Nancy Kerner Show 2, Roman numeral 2, but it'll come up with the number 2 as well. That's where you'll find us. Or, as always, on Rumble. They haven't messed with me yet. Whoops, I'm sorry, I missed Curly. What did Curly say? Pardon me, I just wanted to say that. Curly, we've missed you. Hey, Nancy and Allison, glad you're back on YouTube. Yes, thank you. We're glad to be back here too. We did run Tuesday's show on it yesterday when I discovered that it was working again. Glad to see you. Tammy Meese. Tammy, you're becoming a regular. I'm finding you on Facebook. It's so wonderful. Good afternoon from Pennsylvania. Woohoo! Pennsylvania. Never been there. Mary Jones, aloha. She says, hello, beautiful souls. Nancy Allison, good to see you again today. Good to see you. I see you. Oh, we have so many beautiful people sharing. Patriot, yeah. I love that word, yeah. So excited to catch you and Allison live. I'm so ready for this to end. For this to end, I am worn out. I'm with you. We're worn out too. Yet every day we get up and we keep going, because when I focus on my purpose and being in service, then I don't go into the mind frick and worry and wondering how long it's going to take, especially when we have all these great Q drops and Patriot Princess. Colleen May, our beautiful hi from Canada, our Canadian friends, our brothers and sisters in Canada who are awake. This brings me so much joy because I have dear, dear friends in Canada who think I have gone off my rocker. Mary Jones, only the truth shall set us free. Spoken so well. Oh my goodness, great foundation from my 12-step recovery teachings. The truth will set you free, but it might piss you off first. Tammy again says, love your positivity, so uplifting. I uplift myself. Mitchell Ryder. Aloha, Nancy and Allison. Mahalo for all you folks do for our community. Have a blessed day to all. And a blessed day to you too. I'm grateful for the gift of life that you're here, that we're all here together. It's a divine moment. And there's our beautiful Hawaiian friend, Lisa Davies. Good to have you back here. We've missed you. I'm like, where's Lisa? She can't find us. So, Tony Catron, okay. I didn't know where you went, but then it dawned on me. Yeah. Well, glad you found us, Tony. We're so grateful to be alive and chosen and heard the call to go ahead and speak up. Even though this isn't my lane, it's not what I ever saw myself doing, and that's what so many people say who are truthers. They never saw themselves doing this. And yet people in their communities weren't speaking up and speaking out for what was being done to us through the whole COVID pandemic. And now that's about all to be put to bed. It just breathes new energy and new life into my 2-day cleansed body. I did a mineral cleanse, and even my wave watch, I had to change a notch on it. It doesn't take much to get the toxins out of the brain, the blood, the skin, all the major organs, the liver, the intestines. If you have gut issues, you may want to do a mineral cleanse, because I feel like a Christmas tree lit up, firing on all cylinders, ready to go. And I haven't 2 days on a mineral cleanse. It was easy because you lose your appetite when you're ingesting the mineral cleanse. And they have these little cinnamon rolls. They're actually like fat bombs, and you can have a couple of those a day. And I drink some bone broth and keep me warm, because sometimes when you're cleansing, especially if you don't have a lot of extra padding on, like some of us do on our coles and our bellies and our boobs, then the thinner you are. I've noticed this in the waters in Hawaii too. The thinner you are, the less thermogenesis warms you up, because you just don't have all those fat reserves to burn fat from to keep you warm in the waters. Even though I believe the healing waters of Hawaii, I never need a wetsuit there, ever. California, cold waters. East Coast, Virginia Beach, surprisingly warmer waters than California, the coast of San Diego, where I grew up. In Hawaii, when I lived there, that was the first thing I noticed in 1976 when I went to the beach. It was like a bathtub to me. And so just know that cleansing, our tissues and cells need it. We have put, the 3 meals a day, that's just way too much food. We don't need that much food, and we'll live longer with less calories consumed, with less processed toxic foods going in our body. So, the health revolution is coming into a new, a new chapter. Kind of like it's part of the Great Awakening, because we're seeing how destructive some of our medical practices can be and are. And what I've known since I was in my 20s is that nutrition is the ultimate healer. And then I learned, when I had my spiritual awakening in the age of 27 in 1988, was spirit, the God source, whatever you want to call it, being connected is the ultimate healer, because then we're giving and receiving information. You can ask a question. Remember that book, Conversations with God by Donald Neil Walsh? We have the ask, and it is given response. Is it given right away? No, not always. Sometimes, yes. In this creation process, yes, instantaneously you get a thought. Like Allison and I create a lot on the computer and spend hours every day researching, and so she's been having that experience. What would be a good closing? And then something will pop up. That's how it works. You might be thinking of somebody and they call you or text you. And we are connected through consciousness, unless we're blocking our pineal gland through medications, food, alcohol, too many drugs, etc. So it's a clean slate when we can recognize that we are the ones who are in control of our lives and take our power back. And what better way to do that than with a financial revolution? Tammy says, I recently started doing 2 meals a day and 17-hour fast. Yes, it is amazing. Never thought I could go that long without eating, but I first cut out sugars and carbs, and that's probably why I was more successful. Yes, so that 17-hour window that you're not eating, that's when autophagy happens. That's when the body eats itself, is what it's called. And it's using up what is already stored in your gut. Because remember, our stomachs are about this big. So they're little. And yet, what do we put in there? A big plate full of food. So then we just get used to stretching it out. We get used to the chemicals in a lot of the foods. If you're eating chips and fast food, the chemical addiction. Lay's potato chips, you can't eat just one because it's the chemicals that have you reaching for more. And so that's why there's certain foods that if they're in the house, they go in my mouth, and that's not a good place for them. So I do my best. I'm not perfect. So if you have an eating a window, like my husband's eating window is, he wakes up, he has his coffee, and then at about 1, 2 o'clock, well, between noon and 1, he'll have a big thing of fruit, grapefruit, oranges, and apples. I don't eat that much. So then a couple hours later, he'll have his protein shake. We love Isogenics, been on and off that since 2003. It's amazing. And I think that's why I wasn't sore after I went kayaking this weekend. Both days, really working it on the river, the Columbia River. And I was like, ooh, I may be sore tomorrow or the next day. I wasn't sore at all. And it's because when we flood our body with nutrition, it responds. And so then he'll have a main meal with me at night. Now, of course, he loves to snack. So we do our best to keep popcorn limited and some dark chocolate. Well, we're not always successful, but that's not the point. It's not about being perfect or rigid. So anyways, his eating window is actually, say we finish dinner sometime 7, 8 o'clock at night. His eating window goes all the way until noon or 1 the next day. And that is fantastic. It's called periodic cleansing, periodic fasting, and there's another name. There's a 12, 18-hour window. If you want to try what Tammy's talking about, you can go 12 hours, or you can extend it to, a longer eating window. And some people claim that they can eat pastas if they do it that way. They can eat some of those food, not in large quantities, and they won't gain weight and it won't affect them. So, we all need to find our inner healthy food practice. Okay, where are we now? Let me just check here, take a look at my notes, make sure that I said everything. We have a bunch of information to share with you. Oh my goodness. Are you excited? Who's excited here? Are you feeling like we're on the precipice of change and the completion of this tired old movie? That is actually very exciting and very empowering to see the natural organic flow of exposure happening. I see Miss Allison's back there. Are you, did you want to say something? Or were you?
I wasn't sure if you were going to, I'm going with the flow, sweetie. I just wanted to make sure I was ready in case you did need something or wanted your, I told you, just cue me up for what you want.
Well, as long as you're on here, and people, thank you everyone for acknowledging Allison, because if she weren't here, I wouldn't be here doing this, and it wouldn't be this show. And Allison's the one who's putting up, please. What do you think of that Mr. Truth Bomb series?
He is just amazing. And he gives one thing I really applaud him for is, he does a ton of research and just puts it in our lap, which is amazing. But he always says, I don't accept donations. You need to support the truthers around me. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
But I mean, he has like 16 to 20, I don't know how many different channels. So he's really amazing at getting the information out. And it's all documented stuff. It's not just, one of these fly by night kind of he has the proof behind it.
You know, I was watching that last one you put up. It's towards, I think it's his last one. I don't know if it's number 12 or what, but last night I was watching it and he was going into devolution. He was going through it like we were going through it. He was like, what? They stole the election. We watched it. They're surely not going to validate it.
Yeah.
What? And so he went through all of that as we were watching it in real time. And then he goes into, well, Trump's really leaving. He's not coming back. This was January 20th. What? Why would he step down? He's a fighter. And then he goes, oh, devolution, transfer the power of the government over to the commander in chief. And I was like, this is so cool because for all the people who missed it, he's showing you. If you didn't see it happening in real time, this is why we knew what we knew, right?
It's like it chronicled exactly the stages and phases I went through of cognizant dissonance majorly, and then really weirded out about just everything. It was too much, but at the same time, we were so ready for the answer that when we finally figured out that it was done on purpose to reveal the whole crime families all over the planet, whatever you want to call them, the darkness, it makes perfect sense because you cannot just tell people. You have to show them how despicable and low they could get. You wouldn't believe it otherwise. It's too crazy. You can't make this stuff up.
You can't make this up. You have been a debt slave. And if you don't think you are, then you're not awake yet, because that's something that we discovered, 35 years ago. I love that you and I are in alignment on this, because it's so challenging when people aren't awake and don't want to know. That don't talk to me about that. And I get it. I accept you. I love you. I respect you. And this is what's really happening, people.
I rewatched The Matrix last night.
Oh,
with totally different eyes. It was, I don't even think I really paid that close attention the first time I saw it. I was like, what is this everybody's talking about? I have to see it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't real impressed at first. And then as I woke up, it was like, oh, really? That's exactly.
Yeah. Not only The Matrix, Stanley Kubrick films. Oh my gosh. I mentioned it on Tuesday, watching the behind the decoding of the Stanley Kubrick films, because he was being paid by by the government to film the fake moon landing on Studio 237, while he's also filming Space Odyssey, 2001 Space Odyssey. And he was dancing on a bridge between two worlds, and it became unattainable to him. So he made the decision to start showing, just like what we've been seeing, through codes, through pictures, through numbers, through stories in the film. And he was actually telling his story. When Jack Nicholson and his wife were having this argument, that's what he was going through with his wife. And his wife says, why don't you just leave them? And he goes, this is the government. You can't just leave them, in his heart. It's so wild. Pardon me for going off on that.
I think we should actually have another separate show just on that topic, because
I love it.
Actually, in trying to find Stanley Kubrick videos, because I didn't want to rent and pay to see anything. Not a big possibility for me. I don't have a budget for that right now, just yet. But
and let's just talk about that.
Let me finish though.
Pardon me.
What I found was, with searching, that was a good thing. Spirit's always got my back. In that search, I found a clip, and I think I shared it in Telegram. I found out how to go back on the Wayback Machine using archive.org. It brings up anything that's even been deleted from the internet. If it's been scrubbed, it'll bring it up for you. And I was just appalled. I found a video that was done back in 1999 of Stanley Kubrick. It's him sitting there. It's him talking. I don't think it's AI or doctored, but I haven't gone that far to prove it wrong, but it's been on the internet for, I don't know, since then. No, actually it wasn't put up. He allowed the interview only because he agreed that it wouldn't be released for 15 years after that date.
Yes,
he
I
wanted
saw that.
dying. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
he literally admitted in there that 2000 Space Odyssey 2001 was his he thought that was his best film until he took on the moon landing, and that was his, as he called it, his effing masterpiece. He couldn't doubt it. It was I was just stunned because he was going between guilt and he really got off to it artistically. It was just like too tempting. He just had to do it, right? And he asked everybody else about it around him, even Spielberg, who he did not like, right? Or King. No. Anyway, doesn't matter. He was asking other colleagues, in other words, and they said, yeah, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But
yeah, because they promised him an unlimited budget and resources. If he did the film landing, then they would finance 2001 and whatever else he wanted to do. That's what we call making a deal with the devil. And sometimes you don't know that it is bad and corrupt. Let me just point this out. Thank you so much for everyone who has donated. If you would like to donate to help keep Allison working for us, this is a $5 billion agro check I'll send you with $25 donations or more. If you send 50, you'll get 2. So we appreciate you. We know we're at the end here, and hopefully we don't need to ask for another donation. But thank you. We love you.
We love you very
much. In fact, hold on. There's Mary Jones. I've been alone in this awakening and find much joy to share this with others. Thank you both for your voice and the info you share. That is so beautiful. And then she asks, Sammy asks, how do you donate? Is there a link? Allison, you're going to be posting that for them then? Thank you.
It's just nancykerner.com/donations, but it's on the screen right now. I haven't stuck it in the comments yet because I've been clicking too many other places, but I will.
I know, right? And we have so much. So I hope you can stay with us for the whole thing, because there's so much that ties in and builds upon one event after another. Oh, this is a good way to start. This is the Golden Telegraph, and I've got to make it bigger so I can see it.
Here, let me I'm going to pop off and you can take it from here. But if you need me, let me know.
Thank you. Thank you, Allison. We love Allison. Breaking news. Russia says it would more than double its purchases of foreign currency and gold in the month ahead. What do you think they know that the media doesn't know? The finance ministry said it would buy the equivalent of 235.3 billion rubles, which equals $2.6 billion US, or 11.2 billion rubles per day of foreign currency and gold. Foreign currency and gold from April 5th to May 7th. Tomorrow is April 5th. Hello. Telegraphing. The gold is going up, and I think it just hit. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. Thank you. Boom. That's what's about to happen to our financial system, run by the central banks, not central. Well, that too. Central casting and the central banks. So my husband and I have been long-time believers that one day the fiat oil for money, war for money dollar would collapse, and that we would be prepared with having silver and gold. We do like metals. And, you don't need a lot in order to have some silver. It's like $27 an ounce. You can go to Miles Franklin or, see Andy Scheckman. He's on Mark Z's show. We really have a lot of trusted people. Okay, did we have any other little graphics to go with that? Oh, this is a video, right? This is very short.
Yeah, so cup and handle patterns are, and I can't give a precise answer as to why these perfect geometric arcs form all over the markets, and that spotting them is a real big advantage to traders and investors. It's very clear on the chart that when price breaks out of this containment, it accelerates to the upside. It's like a release of energy. This is now a 45-year cup and handle pattern. We've got the roadmap. We know where it's likely to be heading in time and price, because the arc is doing exactly what it did last time, and it's guiding the price of silver up. And it breaks through key resistance. It tends to move up vertically. It did it here in 2020, of course. It broke out, and then it went vertically from, where were we, $17, $18 all the way up to $30 or so. And we're passing through key resistance right now in the sort of 25 to 28 area. And I think we're likely to see the 30s coming fairly quickly. So what I actually expect is a little bit like the last time, is for a pretty rapid upside move over the next few months to somewhere in the upper 30s. We may overshoot into this area above $40. Silver has a habit of overshooting.
Well, and I want to say that Santa Surfing was the first one when I came in here in January 2021 who tipped us off that silver could reach the 5-figure mark. So do not underestimate silver. Why? Because it is a suppressed metal, just like the rest, just like gold. And it's a limited resource. They're used in bombs, which hopefully we won't need to make anymore after Nisara Jasara and the peace deal across all the nations, which I believe is already signed. Or I forgot what I was saying. Whoop, it's gone. Okay, Bitcoin. This is really good and exciting because I've been hanging out with Zester, Mark Z's son. He's been doing videos on YouTube, crazy cryptonauts. And he has been teaching me some things, and I'm going to share a little bit. But he has showed us this clock. It's a Bitcoin halving clock. They're going to have Bitcoin in 15 days, 12 hours, 8 minutes, and 24 seconds. So I went on his show and watched it yesterday, and I asked him some questions. And I said, a lot of my friends are asking, is it dirty? And he said, it's not it's not as dirty as the United States dollar. Bitcoin is not as dirty as the United States dollar. So through his tutorial, I went in, I've had some XLM, not a lot, a little bit of XRP, and I started trading for the first time, swapping. And if I, a 64-year-old grandmother, and there's 70 and 80-year-olds in there learning with me, can do it, you can do it. And I would suggest that you follow Crazy Cryptonauts on YouTube. Start now, because by the time we have Nisara Jasara, the RV and all that, you could prepare. In fact, if you're alone and you're feeling bored and tired with the movie, go in there, because I'm learning right there with you. And I asked Zester if he'd be on the show, and he said he'd love to be on the show. So we have Zester, we have Linda from Wave Watch, we have Nurse Christy, we have some shows lined up if we still have internet. So I got my first crypto. Okay, what's next, Miss Allison? Oh, thank you so much, Allison. That's still on the screen. I'm not sure. Okay. Oh, okay. She's got something from Joe. I will do what I was going to do later.
That no one who should be in a position of leadership wants that. And most of these people that could be effective in a position of leadership because they've led things before, whether it's businesses or what have you, they just don't want to have anything to do with it. It's just a horrible attack on your character. They don't play fair. They lie. They'll get people to say things that aren't true. They'll concoct stories. They'll put things out there with the aid of the intelligence community, like the Russia collusion agenda, like that thing. And then they get all the media that's on the left on board, and then they just repeat this mantra over and over: Russia collusion, Russia collusion, and then they'll pretend that they didn't say that he never won the election.
Right.
They pretend that they didn't question the election. They'll pretend that Hillary Clinton didn't do multiple speeches where she said that
Not
the election was
illegitimately,
stolen. He's not a legitimate president.
Mhm.
Russia stole the election with no evidence.
Yeah.
But when he questions the election, it's a threat to democracy.
Right.
It's just so convenient.
I just love Joe Rogan because he's been coming through this with us too. Now, I wanted to say aloha to Miss Sylvia Guana. She says, hello, Nancy and Allison. Wave. Love you both. Thank you. Thank you so much for all of you who've been donating. And I'm hearing that you're getting your thank you cards with these notes in them, which Mark Z says that $5 billion will be worth $1.6 million in United States Treasury notes, because that's what we're going to be paid in. So welcome, Miss Sylvia. So grateful that you're here. And also Harunis in Canada said, I'm blown away that Stanley Kubrick actually filmed the NASA moon landing. He must be in Gone with the Wind now for exposing the cabal through his subsequent movies. That's a possibility. A lot of the people who were shining a light on the darkness to bring us into the light are in the global protection program, whatever that looks like. Not all of them are going to want to come out. A lot of people are saying John Kennedy Jr. for VP because we know he's alive. Yes, he faked his death because Hillary was going to kill him. There was a hit on him. Yet he is going to play more of an ambassador role. And don't we want that for him? And for Trump, if Trump is who who we think he is, we don't know for sure. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Would it be fun if he pulled the mask off and we saw JFK? Who knows? Now, I do know that Abraham Lincoln and Kennedy were both shot on a Friday. And some people speculate that we're going to see a Trump assassination or attempt at one. I am not worried. This is all programmed so that we can wake up. And some people, I had a woman in a store that I gave one of those 5 billion notes to. And she said, I said, don't worry if it looks like World War III, because then, and the internet goes down, because then we're going to get hooked up to Starlink. And she said, oh, I'm not worried about that. And I said, and you won't be able to, maybe go to your bank or access banking for a couple of days, 2 or 3 days or something. And she said, won't that cause a tremendous amount of chaos? And I didn't say it, but what I wanted to say was, yeah, it's the only way to wake up the sleepers who don't believe it. When it's in your face, when you can't access your money, your internet, when you think there's a war. And of course, we don't want people to be scared out of their booties. We know the White Hats and the generals, they want our safety as their number one priority. And that's why it's taken 3.5 years, 8 years. It's taken them decades. They've been working on this, as we've talked about before. When Lincoln was assassinated, the generals formed Q. And then when JFK was assassinated, they came together and they started multiplying exponentially for the amount of people who wanted to be part of the Great Awakening. So this, when we get bored, when we get tired, when we get worn out, let's remember the people who've been fighting and passing the baton so that the people could show up, so that there would not be a civil war. That's why. And how much can you handle at one time? They couldn't just lay it out, roll it out all onto us, because we couldn't handle that much information. I've been digging on and researching full time since January 2021. And it's a full-time job to learn the true history. And we don't know it all. And so it's going to be quite the chapter. Just be prepared to shift into neutral from the ego to the heart, to that surrendered state of, okay, I'm open. I see it now. I am willing. So how does it work? Honesty, openness, and willingness. That's how you will see. And go over to my website, nancykerner.com, and there's all the videos there that Allison's put together to help you to learn some of the lies about the history so that we can give birth to this new, beautiful peace on earth revolution. It's fantastic. Okay, Allison. Whoa, I'm going to set this up. I see what you have loaded in the background. And yes, thank you for that donation link. We really appreciate it. We haven't had to ask up until now, and we do now. Eric Trump. He was on Joe Pags, I think is his name. I've listened to him in the past, bits and pieces here and there. And he did like a half an hour interview. And so I've pulled some segments out of there that I think are really important for us to get his take, just like Joe Rogan's, just like Mr. Truth Bombs, on what was happening to them as things were getting gritty and dirty in the most horrific witch hunt you could ever imagine, from an innocent man who just wanted to help his country to return to sanity, to take our power back. So we have a few clips. This is the first one.
Their whole strategy is demean him, smear him, back to the Podesta emails, make him seem unstable with the nuclear codes, make him seem like he's going to be a rogue person who's going to, right? Bankrupt him, go after him criminally, go after him civilly, do so in multiple jurisdictions, go after his family, go after his friends, go after his assets, try and seize his assets. Go after all the partners he has, the banks he has, the people who love him, and make their lives absolutely hell. Raid his homes, take his medical records. I mean, where do you want me to quell his voice? As I said,
Eric,
before,
every time they do it, though,
take him off of the platforms where he communicates.
Right.
So you had former Twitter that has the Ayatollah
sick
on
it's
their
nuts.
platform, but
it's
you
nuts.
couldn't have Donald Trump, the guy who is beloved by the vast majority of this country. He's stripped of his rights. They would turn down the dial. Zuckerberg was famous for this. I mean, he put hundreds of millions of dollars into making sure that my father wasn't elected, but
yes,
he would turn down the dials. You'd post something that he didn't like, he didn't approve of. All of a sudden, you'd see your engagement go to hell. I mean, you saw Joe. They did the exact same thing to you because you were.
They still do it to me. No,
they
your dad would come on. I've interviewed him 14 times now, and he would come on the show. He'd invite me to the White House, and suddenly I get 2 shares out of 400,000 followers on Facebook. I mean, literally, they shut. You're saying the dial? They just shut it off, and they basically.
It was a setup from day one, and so absolutely, we're in the appellate court in New York. They just knocked down the bond amount tremendously, as you know. Everybody knows that this guy is just insane. Everybody knows that this verdict is insane. We've never seen anything like this ever in history. No one's ever had to put up a $500 million bond. The largest companies on planet Earth. When I went out to get this bond, Joe, the surety companies literally said to me, what's the number again? 500 million? They go, Eric, we've been doing this for 50 years. We've never even heard of a bond.
Bernie Madoff had 10 million, Eric. Bernie Madoff, he stole $63 billion or something.
Does that surprise you?
I guess not. I mean, see what's going on.
I mean, listen, in New York State right now, you can go shoot somebody in the face in the middle of Times Square, and you go in and they let you go, and you don't have to pay. You don't have to post a bond. The only person in New York State that actually has to post a bond is Donald Trump and our family, because it's legal lawfare and it's crazy. But here's the good news, Joe. I mean, because we've spent a lot of time on kind of the injustices and how insane it is. Every single time they did this to Donald Trump, I mean, it's shocking that the DNC doesn't have smarter people. But every single time they've done this to Donald Trump, his poll ratings, his polls have gone through the roof. He is beating Joe Biden in every single swing state. My wife, she's been at the RNC for 30 days. She just raked in $65 million. The RNC has never seen money like that in its entire existence.
Amazing.
And that's in a 30-day period of time. People understand the game. People are pissed off. There's only so many times you can cry wolf. You can't do a Russia hoax. You can't do a failed impeachment 1, a failed impeachment 2, an attack of Kavanaugh, and then go do 19 nonsense cases and say that they're justified. People don't buy it anymore. People know what's happening in this country, and they're upset. and you have the worst president in the history of the world right now. Everything's failing. Everything. Prices are going through the roof. Americans are hurting. You've got wars breaking out all over the place. You see what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. You see what happened in Israel. America has no respect whatsoever. We're losing our currency. We're losing our reputation. We're losing our standing. You know, we're being run over by every country. We're being ripped off. We're spending trillions of dollars on nonsense every single day. Our taxes are horrible. Our infrastructure is terrible. I mean, we can't do it anymore. I mean, everything is broken. We can't get out of Afghanistan without totally embarrassing ourselves.
That was disgusting.
You know,
I mean,
our military
he can be
leaders are
impeached.
spending more time renaming military bases than
It's
actually
sick.
winning wars. I mean, where do you want me to stop? Look at inflation.
Well,
I mean,
Eric, if you look at Afghanistan, he should be impeached on Afghanistan. He should be impeached on the border. They keep on lying that the Republicans in the House are stopping the border from being fixed. That's a lie. Biden did 94 executive actions undoing what your dad did that fixed the border. And in fact, there's an HR 2 that the House did pass that the Senate won't take up that codifies everything your dad did into law. Chuck Schumer won't take it up. They lie. But Eric, that's the problem. They lie so bad.
Even more basic than that. Let's just, they're evil, but let's just say that they're extremely incompetent and they're worse than that.
Okay.
Right? But at least try and show up. Anytime that there's a problem, where are they? Right? You know, when we had the massive supply chain problem in this country, massive supply chain, you didn't have a 2x4 at Home Depot.
Right.
Where did Pete Buttigieg go? He went on paternity leave, because why wouldn't you leave the entire country with empty shelves? And when they made, Kamala the border czar, what did she do? Her next trip was to Vietnam, because why wouldn't you go to Vietnam when you were the border czar taking care of the southern border? And guess where Joe Biden was when Afghanistan was falling? He was in Delaware sitting on a beach, because why wouldn't you be on a beach when a 20-year war that's killed tens and tens and tens of thousands of people and millions, if you count all the people over in that part of the world, it cost trillions of dollars. Why wouldn't you be sitting on a beach? They never show up to the call of duty. They never show up when you need to be present. You have people coming across the border and they want it. I mean, they flew 350,000 people into this country on the cover of darkness on private planes. You know how much
on our dime.
costs? I mean, if you think that the average JetBlue flight has 180 people on it, maybe, right? 350,000 at $20,000 an hour for those flights, say round trip, they're probably 6-7 hours.
It's crazy,
right? Times how many flights that is, and then obviously the Senate and Congress, they try and propose legislation that they can't spend any money on on flying people in the cover of darkness. And guess what? Every single Democrat votes against it. It's intentional, Joe.
It is.
My father paid for the wall, all the slats for the wall, all this.
First interview I ever did with you 6-7 years ago, you said, he's my best friend. You said that your dad was your best friend. As a son, when you see them doing 8 times more than they did to him the first time around, how does that make you feel? I mean, in your private moments, do you just stay, I'm vigilant, I'm on it, this is a job we've got to get done? Or is it like, I can't believe they're doing this to my dad?
No, it's horrible. Joe, it's horrible. I love the man. Donald Trump's the one person who did not need this job. His life would have been exponentially better going over to Mar-a-Lago, playing golf, having a great time, seeing his grandkids. I mean, he loves this country, and he sees this country going absolutely down the tubes. And we all feel that as a family. But, the man is remarkable. I've never met somebody in my life that has more backbone, that has more fight, that has more perseverance. He's unbelievable, no matter what they throw at him. And they wanted to make his life so damn uncomfortable that he would just bow out. No matter what they throw at him, he just will not stop. He's a remarkable person. And our country needs a fighter. I've said that to you a bunch of times. Our country needs a fighter. And, that very same attribute that allows him to go through this hell, the hell that they put him through every single day, the fight that he has to fight through, and do so with such a good attitude while campaigning, while going out there, while being positive. He's unbelievable. He is my best friend. I admire him more than any human being that I've ever met. I mean, he's just an unbelievable person. And, to your viewers out there and to you and everything else, I will stand by his side until, the end of my days. I will never, ever leave that stage. I will fight for what we believe in. I don't care what they do to us. I don't care how they try and imprison us. I don't care how they try and, bankrupt us. I don't care what they throw at us. I will stand by his side.
That is so beautiful to hear his son talk about him in the way that we all hold and regard him, and the clear perception of who this Donald Trump man is, and the way that he stays so positive. He surrounds himself with thoroughbred horses, people who are not living in the small-mindedness of gossip and drama. They have a bigger mission and a bigger plan, and they don't have time to wallow in self-pity. They can just move forward one day at a time. And so thank you, Allison, for doing such a beautiful job on playing those different segments. And here's Curly. I heard Steve Jobs is alive. Yes, yes, yes. That's what we hear too. And that's why all of our phones, the smartphones have been upgraded to do things that we will need them to do, perhaps like voting from our phone, cleaning up the voting. That's got to happen. And also, I wanted to say aloha to Bud. Glad that you found us on YouTube. And I just received a donation, and I'm just so grateful, humble, and blessed that you would help us to take care of our beloved Allison. So you will receive 2 of these agro checks. And I just want you to know, if you want that, please send an email to Nancy@nancykerner.com with your address so I can send it to you today. And with that, I know that I had a picture of Saddam, ABS, what's his name? That one of him and Trump. Do you have that one by chance, Allison?
That one fell through the crack. But I can get it for you.
That'd be great. Do you want to play something? Is this a video that you have queued up?
You could cover this. It's what Phil brought out on the eclipse, and then we were going to go over the other Patriot Princess. Say that fast 3 times. The other Patriot Princess video that speaks to HARP and this business. But I don't know. Would you like me to play the video first, and then you'll talk about this, or what?
If you want to play the video, okay, then while it's playing, grab that picture of Trump so that we can expand on that a little bit. And these will come into play right after the video too. So that's great. Thank you so much. Well, here it comes. I see her queuing it up. Our beloved Patriot Princess, who's doing an amazing decoding job.
Okay, so Fox News is talking about this story of how they can use frequency and vibration to manipulate your mind and control your thought process and how it affects the body and the mind. And there's people talking about how it affected them. And I remember an article coming out from Edward Snowden about this exact thing. And they're also talking about a guy from Russia getting in trouble, a Russian spy. And in this story, they say baloney and 60 minutes. This is all adding up to Snowden and Phil and his live today. Interesting.
But the idea that this now is 60 minutes, very credible source there, and some anti-Putin Russian media, I don't find it very credible. So why would 60 Minutes push this if it does benefit the Ukraine situation, and then have the entire federal government say it's baloney? Yeah, that's the piece that doesn't quite fit together because usually the regime media is doing the bidding of the regime, right?
Snowden, 60 Minutes, baloney, things are adding up. The comms are telling the story. And we believe that Phil is Snowden and he is creating quantum films. He's going to do a whole film. In fact, that is such a great trailer. I love that trailer because he is alluding to the fact that JFK didn't die, that he went on to live his life, that he knew perhaps what was coming after him and planned for it and prepared for it. And how does Joe Biden tie into the assassination of JFK? How does George Bush Sr. tie into it? Him being part of the creation of the CIA. Criminals, all of them criminals. Well, not all of them, pardon me. There are good people in the FBI and the CIA and the three-letter agencies. And Kash Patel, in his book, Government Gangsters, shares all the receipts, all the communications that J6 was, they were planning it. And Kash and Trump and his team requested to bring in 10,000 National Guard troops, and they rejected it. Nancy Pelosi, Muriel Bowser, woof, woof, in Washington, D.C., they had another plan for J6, and they wanted to film a documentary of Trump supporters being irate and hostile and taking over the Capitol, and yet it was a setup for innocent people because there were FBI players dressed up as MAGA. And all of that is so well documented. It's this whole scenario and setup for the J6 was completely an attempt to take over. And of course, to bring in Joe Biden as president. Well, he has never stepped foot, this actor playing Joe Biden in the White House. We were watching it. I was watching it as it was happening because I was in a community of truthers who also knew what was happening. Charlie Ward was our guide. He was telling us. And so when a lot of people think, oh, those Q drops, Patriot Princess, she's thrown out dates before. The dates aren't saying what will happen. The dates, the Q drops pointing to certain dates, and truthers, yes, often wrong a lot of times. What we don't know is what did happen that isn't made public. I believe that we were returned to a restored republic in March of 2021. Now, that might have been too early for the Q drop and it happened this March. Who knows? March Madness definitely had a huge effect on all of us to keep us really believing and glued to these drops and these decoders because it told the story. We knew the script. We saw what was supposed to be happening behind the scenes. And then now to be able to bring it into real time, military showing up at Washington, D.C., New York, etc. Watch the cities. If you're in the cities, those big cities, if there's a rising up when this all starts to go down, when this financial system collapses, etc., there will not be fires, buildings set on fires, chaos, Antifa. They were watching them through Space Force the first time around in 2020 when all that was going down. They were capturing names, perhaps arresting people. They were watching where they were going. So what with the Patriot Act was an invasion on our privacy. Well, NSA and Space Force captured it all. They know who the players are. They followed the money. They followed the trail. And that's why these people are in either Gitmo or one of the other many places where Nuremberg trials are happening, have been happening. They wouldn't have started it. It didn't just start. It's already happened. And yet what we're doing is we're merging the timelines now with the Q drops, and our reality. So if you don't believe in military communications, in the Law of War Manual, in continuity of government, and commander-in-chief, and that the military is in charge of this entire operation, and particularly the Navy, who stepped in Baltimore because the National Guard was there. They usually manage the waterways, etc. And yet, if we're in war, then they move aside and the Navy comes in. So we had a lot of military that was corrupted. That's been a big cleanup job too. Okay, Allison, where are we? Did we get that picture? There it is. Okay, why does this excite me? Because Trump and Mohammed bin Salman had met. Well, remember on the capitulation tour, and Trump went to Saudi Arabia, and this prince gave him the sword, and they were taking over the power from the adrenochrome child trafficking leader of Saudi Arabia. I can't remember his name. I ought to, but I don't. I'm blocking it. And they took him out. They took him down. And I think he was executed in that before Trump came. And no, it wasn't before, because he's in the videos at the capitulation tour, and they handed Trump the sword. Now, the Mockingbird media was saying, look at Trump. He's such an idiot. He doesn't know how to behave. He's holding the sword. And then also when Trump was in England and he walked in front of the Queen, I was watching the posts on Facebook. I was watching the news media say, look at Trump. He has no class. He's walking in front of the Queen. She was capitulating because in order for her to keep her legacy or some kind of crazy deal, then she would capitulate to Trump. And he also, King Charles, allowed Trump to talk to his military in arms, who was the head, and Trump was communicating with him. That would have been taboo and no-no. So does Trump, is he in charge of that military as well? I don't know. I haven't. There's so much, people. There's so much. This is like the biggest octopus with a million different legs going out into all these different areas of corruption. You know, we haven't even gotten to the Pope. My goodness. Anyways, this is good news because they're all about gold. And this prince helped Trump with Twitter and other social medias. When I look at Trump's media that went onto the stock market and just went crazy up, which I suggested my husband get some of that when it came out a year and a half, 2 years ago, they have taken over the media. What you're seeing is part of the psyop, deliberately. Everyone is a character in this movie. And Steve Mnuchin has done a brilliant job in putting this together. And I look forward to the finale and the movie that's to come. If you are afraid of the eclipse, please, there's so much going on. And there's a lot of really cool things that people are piecing together and la, la, la. And I don't say la, la, la to minimize that. I just say, I am not worried. I am not afraid. So Phil says, there is nothing, I repeat, nothing nefarious happening during, leading up to, or after the solar eclipse on Monday, April 8th. Whoever is spreading this nonsense has absolutely no idea what they're talking about. Hard stop. This talk about CERN, this and CERN, that is so stupid. CERN has been under the control of the White Hat since the Lahaina fires in August of 2023. Stop falling for the fear porn. Instead, pay attention to the actual fear, which is the collapse of the fiat dollar and the potential loss of your generational wealth. He's been telling people, get your 401ks and your IRAs over to gold-backed metals And I don't know if you know that there is such a thing. If I had an IRA still, if I had a 401k, then I would be putting it in a gold-backed company that actually has something to back up, not something that just evaporates like what happened to us in 2000. When was that? 4 or 5, 2005. You've got to have gold-backed dollars, and that's what we're moving into. So what can we expect? Now, April 8th is being discussed a lot. That eclipse is going to be about 4.5 minutes, and they're normally about 2.5 minutes. Why? The number 8, the Chinese love the number 8. I got sober on 8/28/88. It's an infinity number. It's a good omen, a good luck number for the Chinese. And we know that the Chinese dragon family is funding a lot of what we're seeing. The Rodriguez Fund has been around for a long time too. There is trillions of dollars and so much gold, in the Philippines that I know people have been searching for. I've watched the shows over the years. Where's the missing gold? There's more gold. Well, they were hiding it from the cabal so that it could be used on behalf of humanity. So if you get cognitive dissonance and you say, Nancy, how could we get this money? It's been a plan for a long time to save and rescue humanity so that we can be free and sovereign individuals. We can be prosperous. We can be healthy. We can live to 300 years or more through med beds. We are in for the most epic journey into a brand new future. And yet it may get dark and dirty first. And that's why we're here, so that you can remain calm, stay connected to us or whoever, you need your posse, you need your tribe in order to remain calm and recognize if I hear EBS or warning, incoming missiles, or, I'm not going to duck and cover, because that's not going to happen. I don't believe that for a moment. I'm going to be sitting here going, exposure, the military's coming. They're going to show the movies. People are going to wake up, and we're all going to be on the same page of information. So the only reason that anyone would, after watching all of this and watching all my lives, would still be all in for Joe Biden, wow. They did such a good job with their predictive programming, with their Mockingbird media. And that will be a thing of the past. And I, for one, am so grateful for that. I would suggest doing healing forgiveness work for yourself. I forgive myself for believing. I forgive myself for believing the media, for believing the corrupted government, for saying things to my friends and family, for believing the lies, believing the movie that I was watching. We need to have that inner forgiveness so that we can take our power back, because we have big work to do. And the big work will be fun work. Imagine sitting in a circle with your friends and your family, just your family, if you get along with them, and talking about their dreams and visions. And if they had all the money in the world at their access, if resources wasn't an issue, what would you create? Because there are humanitarian funds that will be available to either donate to, cleaning up the water, the air, the earth, etc., the chemtrails being gone, and creating farms. You could collaborate with friends if you don't have enough to purchase a farm, for example, because this is big. Growing our own food is big. We need to take control of our food sources and supplies and same with our water. You could collaborate with your loved ones, with people you trust. And yet, from my experience in the last 35 years of doing deep relationship healing and recovery work, spiritual work, intuitive work, all phases, financial work, metaphysical work, looking at a problem and finding the solution, not getting stuck in the problem, lifting the veil in a higher consciousness, ask and it is given. People haven't been taught how to coexist together truly. We have small, micro, mini tribes or people in isolation and loneliness. And my purpose has been to bring people together in communities and lay the foundation of trust. It's a really beautiful, amazing, miraculous, and magical experience to bond so quickly with people, to meet somebody and leave and feel like you've known them for a long time or that you'd like to carry on being with them, being their friend. You know, one of the most beautiful things that was happening on Facebook prior to 2021 was that, I could look at a person and I could see that we shared 70, 80, 100, 200, 300 friends together. We have these multidimensional communities because communities are where we learn. I was just telling Zester yesterday, I sent him a note and I didn't hear back from him. And would he like to be on the show? And he goes, Nancy, I'm calling you out. I answered you and I said, oh my goodness, I have so much to learn about the messages and where he sent it in Discord. And I went and I looked and I went, oh, there it is. I didn't know. So, we can't have ego so big that we need to be right all the time. We need to be humble servants of this blessing that we're given from the heart and only from the heart without conditions of, well, you need to respect me because I'm giving you help or support or whatever. That there, it's unconditional, other than an agreement to pay back, repay, blah, 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 all that. But as far as, taking hostages, that's what I see all the time. She didn't text. She doesn't text. She doesn't send me an email. People are blaming other people for not responding to a text or an email or a phone call based on the expectation and the trigger and hook that they need to respond to me and the way that I want them to. I gave a thumbs up to somebody because I was just too busy to respond other than to say, a thumbs up. And I got this email back. Only a thumbs up? What's the matter with you? And I just got bitched out right in that little text. And I thought, no, thank you. I don't need that dance card. So you can say no, thank you. You don't have to hate people to not dance with them. You get to choose whose dance card you're accepting and whose you're saying no, thank you. Or if it's not an absolute yes now, then it's a no for now. This is just an incredible, powerful use of our power to cut the cords of an expectation from somebody else because that's how you interpret they should. If you're expecting a thank you note or a response text, there's different ways to manage that. You could say, hi, I haven't heard from you. I sent you this. Did you get my message? But yet we're so ingrained with shame and blame and making somebody wrong. And that's the ego war we have been in, the information war. And that's all going to collapse and we're all going to be humbled. And people who never prayed before, if there is a God, show me. It's so simple. It's not rocket science. Disengage the ego, take that step from the ego, 12 inches or so down into the heart and ask your body mind, how can I respond to this person that's from love rather than all capped letters? Because that's like yelling at somebody. Bring love into your computer, into your phone. Notice where it's so easy to gossip about other people and take the high road as often as you can. Like I said, I'm not perfect. And yet that raises our vibration when we're speaking about our dreams and visions. How does that feel to you? Once you can allow yourself, let that ego take a nap and a rest because it's trying to protect you from getting hurt. If you can allow yourself to go into meditation, prayer, sit on the sand or in the grass or walk along the water's consciousness and feel the energy and tap in. It was so fun to be unplugged this weekend for the most part. Nature is so healing. Our plants, our earth, the trees, everything used to be so much bigger. And we're going to return the earth to its glorious new Laura, plants, animals, healthy. Oh my goodness, it just really excites me. And so from my heart to yours, I just say, um, thank you for joining us. Yes, let's hear abundance for humanity. The prosperity playground, Mary Jones, is about prosperity and abundance for all beings. Thank you so much for sharing that. Chris Johnson, I love you. Hi. Hey, can I sleep at your house on Saturday night? I want to come over and watch the kids ride their dirt bikes. By the way, Chris, I actually just looked up a new electric motorcycle. It's called Teleria. And I found a model that'll be equivalent to a 125cc Yamaha, which is what I used to ride when I rode dirt bikes. I really look forward to riding dirt bikes. I had a full Harley dresser, and then I stopped riding because I went into menopause and I got freaked out. But I love the idea of a quiet bike being in the trails. There's so many trails where we live here that I could ride to. Mary Jones, I love Zester and Mark Z. You know what? We can hang out together on their lives if you're in there at the same time. Mark Z does the best, as I said, news, and Zester has earned my trust with crypto. And so please, if you're saying, I don't have any crypto, I don't know, the quantum financial system is going to be really booming with great crypto. And we're also going to be able to invest in companies. From what I've heard, the way that this will look is that, say, this stock market run by Aladdin, which is AI, who did a $500 drop on, when was that? Yeah, Tuesday? Monday or Tuesday. So we were told it would drop to 500, go up, and then drop again, and then just drop. And so this weekend could be, will it be our Black Swan event over the weekend on Friday, etc.? Who knows? I'm not attached to the date. I'm just trying to prepare you for the experience. Yet, wouldn't it be cool if we didn't have middlemen on the stock market and the quantum financial system? You could go directly to the company that you want to invest in. I know I'm really excited about these portable generators that will run your entire home, that doesn't use oil, gas, or electricity. What does it use? We have 6,000 patents on technologies that have been suppressed all this time, and I think they were lifted when 2016, maybe sooner, who knows? Or they were working on those patents behind the scenes, because some of them are set, like that generator I'm looking at for this month. Well, actually, it was supposed to be launched last month. So, they're holding back, I believe, with the timeline to launch all these incredible new flying machines. What's it going to look like? What kind of energy will they be using? And having been waiting for flying cars for the last decade, I moved on from flying cars. I'm looking at transporters and jets that are fueled with alternative energy fuel sources. It's going to be water-powered cars are coming. Curly knows that we had inventors of water-powered cars a long time ago. And Tesla, when he was creating energy, he wasn't creating it to slap his name on an electric car that uses batteries. He wanted us to have the ethers direct, the source that's all around us, that we're not taught about in school. We're taught about it in our churches. I learned about the ethers at Unity Church. So now, can you imagine how it taking minutes to get to Hawaii from the mainland, rather than 6 hours on a cattle car, an airplane that's so outdated? My goodness, we're going to just lift the veil on all that is going to make our lives more comfortable and easier. Colleen May, kinetic energy generator. Okay. See, Colleen? Now, Mary Jones says, Mark Z will be great tonight. Yes, because he got his new wheelchair. He got his trek. I donated directly to that trek. CBD Gurus was taking all their funds and proceeds, all their profits, to get Mark this expensive, like $30,000 Trek wheelchair, because he lives He has 2 homes, one in South Carolina or North Carolina, I think, and one in San Juan, Puerto Rico, where Zester lives in a separate house than Mark. And so he can take it out on the beach. Oh my gosh, I can just see him ripping around on the sand. We call it Z-Force One. That's what I call it. Others call it similar names. And he may be doing the unveiling. He showed this morning the big box sitting in his driveway. He's going to cry. We're all going to be crying. And we really want to see Mark Z get in the med beds because he has a degenerative muscle disease. And yes, Mary Jones is so happy for Mark. I'm crying already. He's done so much for us. You know, if it weren't for heart-centered, spiritual-minded people who were open to all people as long as they're being respectful in their platforms like Mark Z has been. He's the salt of the earth. And he deserves all the good and the healing and use of both of his legs again. So do my friends who are paralyzed and your friends. Everyone deserves another opportunity to have their bodies working the way they're supposed to. So many people we've lost. I know Chris lost both his parents. And why? You know, why? This insanity has got to stop. We are taking our power back. We are taking a stand for truth. And I don't want to see left or right, red or blue. I want to see you and me. In fact, I said to my husband last night, if I were going to create a political party, which I'm not, I would call it Citizens for Common Sense, because that seems to have gone out the window. My goodness. Okay. Her woundness says, love the whole look of your magical, prosperous playground office, Nancy. Thank you, Allison, too. The coral top you're wearing just completes the whole ensemble. I took off the black one with the gold zippers. I'll save that for Dante. Anthony, my brother from another mother. Aloha, my sisters. I was happy to hear that as well. Bless you, family. Bless your family. So beautiful. Did I miss any? I'm not sure if you were flashing, Allison. Oh my goodness. Well, I think we're coming to a wrap and a close. Allison, you're all done. I see you nodding your head. I love StreamYard. I love the back office that we can see one another. And it is 12:32. So we've gone for like an hour and 30 minutes. And I would like to ask, oh, I know. Chris had a question. Yeah, Chris. A very humbling situation. Very, yeah. So Chris had also sent me a text. Did you want to ask me that? Well, you asked me a question and I turned off my phone. I apologize, Chris. Did you ask?
I think he was just telling you in the comments, he let you know that he got off. His overtime was canceled. He said,
oh, fantastic. Okay. Thank you for that. Chris,
Yeah.
can you resend me your question? You texted me because I turned off my phone and I know that you had a question around the currency. And I'd like to answer that if you can. Mary Jones, let me just pop her up real quick here. Thank you, ladies. You make my heart sing.
You make ours.
Oh, Chris says, I asked about the banknote, how it's going to come into play. Okay, great. So what we're looking at is we don't know exactly at this moment in time. What we're being prepared to is that we need to see Joe Biden removed from office. And we're told a lot of this is all going to come down at once. Mr. C, the code man who was burned by George Bush Sr., ripped off, has been taken under the wing of, the Chinese elders. And I'm trying to think of the media that he works with. It's military. I've lost the name of it. It's like right there. Anyways, Mr. C is going to he's going to get a visit at his home and he will enter the codes which will be to cause the derivatives to go to zero and the stock market to go down, if not completely gone. And it will affect all the banks. So you may not be able to go into a bank for a little bit. It will trigger, we're not sure if the foreign currency, the RV, will happen today, tomorrow, the next day, over the weekend. We're right there. The boards are really screaming hot that Iraq has already revalued their currency for their people so that they could enjoy the benefits of it. Now, it's controlled information, very, very controlled. Everybody has to be in alignment with this and how it's going to look. So if they launch the RV, then that would mean that the Forex would start showing the new valuations. We're supposed to get the emails or 800 numbers from people like Mark Z from dinarrecaps.com. If you're subscribed to them, then you will get an email. Could come from our bank. Thank you, J81 is Interpol. I love you, man. Interpol, that's who manages the information with Mr. C, Codeman. And he has a thesis. It's like, I don't know, $50, $75 donation. And Mark has his information on his website, the original Mark Z. He has been waiting as long as I have, because he was burned to the core, financially destroyed because of George Bush taking over all that Mr. C had set up, all that he had worked with, took his identity. He lost 2 children as a result of all this stress, and it was just awful. So if anybody deserves to be vindicated, it's Mr. C. So back to the derivatives going down, the stock market going down, the EBS going live. We may see what looks like a World War III event. So all of this are possibilities, a fake or Trump assassination. We don't know what this finale part of the movie is going to look like. So just know and trust the information that we've been building upon all these, months. Then so people who are internet foreign currency holders, that's what we are. We're called Tier 4B. So they've been taking care of the whales at the top, the big church communities, humanitarian projects, and then they're coming down into Tier 3. Those are tiers 1 and 2. Tier 3 is CMKX, some other people. They're going to get their access to, going to their redemption center or bank. If you have Zim, the like the 100T, the 50T, the 20T, not to be confused with the aggro, the 100T Zim, those are connected to humanitarian projects if you want them. You don't have to do it. You can get funding if you want to buy a big farm. And these 100T notes, according to Mark Z all this time, are going to be worth $30 to $50 million. So if you need a link to go buy, Atticus has been really good on prices for those 100T Zim notes. I think they're offering them for about $75 each. So though, just write to me, Nancy at nancykerner.com, or come over to Telegram and I'll drop whatever links that you need in there. That's the easiest. So if you want to borrow money, if you want the wealth managers through the Zim, then you can actually do your project, your cost and balance, your projections, what you want to create, and you can get a loan from them. The one thing is then you have somebody to answer to. So do you want to go that route, or maybe take a little less money and just be free to create what you want? That's why the agros are such a good deal. There's no strings attached. You pretty much know the set rate on what we're going to get, unless, Mark Z's been wrong and he's been in this for decades. I don't think he's wrong. So the agros I get on eBay, they're pretty cheap. You'll be blown away when you go over there. Or if you want me to send you my favorite provider, send me a link, because he throws in not extras on 5Bs. They'll throw in 2 or 3 extras. On 50Bs, they'll throw in a couple, 1 or 2 extras. So I really love this dealer. And what else was I going to say about that? Did you have a question? I wanted to say, oh, we're going to go to the redemption centers, those of us who are Tier 4B internet first. So say sometime between now and Monday, we get our notifications. We set up our appointments to go exchange our foreign currency. Then Tier 5 is the general public. They're not going to get the same rates on anything as you. I don't know. Maybe that's a blanket statement. They may not get the same rate as you. We will get a higher Iraqi dinar rate being in the internet group. So, you want to let them know, is this the contract rate? But I will be communicating with you this whole way through in whatever format I can. If I get an email or a phone call and it says, okay, do you want to make your appointment? I don't think it's going to be a phone call. I think it'll be an email, because a phone call, you could get too many scammers. An email, you call them. If it's coming from your Wells Fargo or your Chase Bank, they know everybody who's been buying these foreign currencies. They know who we are. This is amazing. We call it ghosts in the machine. They're monitoring everything, all the activities of all these currencies, because these currencies are our key to the new financial revolution. We're going to flood our communities with resources, and then they'll have their Nasara Jasara. Some people say it's going to happen at the same time. Some say a little later. I don't know for sure. All I know is first step is RV. Second step is general public. And you may be under an NDA but Mark Z said his bondholder said he wouldn't do an NDA unless he was going to get some liquidity with his cash. And all the stories, all the banking stories, even Alex Collier's banker told him, I'm just waiting for the email. Before they were saying, I don't know nothing. Now, I'm not going to go into Wells Fargo or Chase today and say, do you have the currency yet? I've already done that many times. And I'm just waiting for the email to come in. I'm waiting to hear that. So it could be a little bit of a scare event and a pleasure event at the same time. Is that not wild? It's like, why would we be excited to see a scare event for World War III? Well, if you know it's not going to happen, and that's when the military steps in and says, or we see a tweet on Twitter X from Trump that says, my fellow Americans. That starts out the cue drop that's what we're waiting for. So that would mean he's reinstated on X. And he and Elon, of course, are in this together. So it's a crazy mixture of uncertainty and belief and faith and intuition and trusting yourself and the research that you have done, or find people that you trust. Like I found Mark Z. I found him in one of Phil G's D-Live chats. I was getting to know people there. I was, we were talking about ourselves and what we do. And then one day, Fungul dropped Mark Z's link in there and said, go follow Mark Z. Because I was already investing in silver. I was part of 7K Metals. And then I found Mark Z, and I was like donating to him like crazy. And I was like, did you really say the Zim's going to be worth $50 million? And he'd say yes every time. He hasn't faltered on that at all. So this might sound crazy to you. Call me crazy. I like crazy cryptonauts. And that is fun. Trading crypto is fun. Now, it's not so fun when you don't have $10 to put in there. So it will be fun. If you can learn now and set it up with just a tiny bit of money and follow Zester, because he is brilliant. That young man, he reminds me of my son. Some of our children are the new leaders of the world in their area, in their chosen, called for situation. I totally see my sons having their dreams. One son would like a farm, another son would like to create the ultimate, properties. And I have had visions of that ever since they were children. When they were children, I just wanted my husband to start a construction company and have those two sons work with him. But that wasn't my husband's call. He didn't like the industry. He didn't want to be in the industry. He felt stuck in golden handcuffs in the construction industry. And so our younger son took it upon himself to skip college and start working to make some money. And then he started his own company after he had a decade or so of experience. And my husband just turned in a wonderful multi-million-dollar bid. And you know what? Relationships are our greatest asset and product. And the relationship that my son has built with the vendors, with other builders, with the county, they recommend him. They send people to him. And some people have excellent relationship skills, and some are quiet and don't, and aren't the talkers. They're not the communicators. They're not the bridge that brings people together. We need all people with your gifts. A lot of people are just observers. They just watch and listen to everything, and they may think that they're invisible at times. And they actually create that self-imposed invisibility. I did that once with Doreen Virtue in Hawaii. I was sitting in her audience in the front row or second row on the end, and I was nervous, and so I didn't want her to call on me yet. So I thought, oh, I'm just going to cloak myself in invisibility. And she knew who I was, and she skipped me, and then she goes, "Oh, wait a minute, there you are, Nancy." So we can consciously put ourselves in the back, and then some of us will make ourselves victims and say, "Nobody ever sees me." So the only way to be seen is to take a risk, put in some words, make friends in the chat. That was all new to me when I got here. And now we have friends who want to dream the big dream, who want to be on the prosperity playground with conscious, high vibration and frequency people who have hearts of gold, who are the salt of the earth, who want nothing but the best for you, whether you have a family or not. All people. We don't need to treat some people one way and some people another way. All of us deserve a plate at the table. All of us deserve to be able to eat healthy food, not the cheapest food, because that's all we can afford. My girlfriend, who's very wealthy now, she said before she got very wealthy, she told her husband, all I want is to go through the grocery store and not have to look at the price, or any store. I just don't want to look at the price anymore. I can relate to that. I know what it's like to live on a budget. I know what it's like to be a spender, because I'm a dreamer. Dreamers are the ones who are co-creating the visions and the roadmap to the future. Who are you? Are you a dreamer? Are you good with accounting and numbers and Excel type sheets, businesses? Because people are going to be looking for others to help manage their projects and their businesses with an entirely different skill set. There's visionaries, there's dreamers, there's builders, there's project managers, and there's people who say, I don't know nothing, like me when I first woke up 35 years ago. I don't know anything, but I'm willing to serve, and I'm willing to serve. I'm willing to be in service. You show me what to do, and I will show up at my best, not hungover, not sleep deprived. I will show up at my best and give you 100%. If you're willing to do that and allow yourself to talk with your spouse and your children and find out what they love, what they dream too, can you imagine the future? It's going to be magical and miraculous. And remember, a miracle, to keep it simple, is simply a shift in your perception. So from my heart to your heart, whoops, I got the wrong candle. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, thank you, thank you, sweet love. Thank you, everyone. Okay, Tammy, you want the link to buy the agros. Send me an email. or go over to Telegram, because I've got a favorite seller that I like. And I don't get anything from those.
Yeah, we don't that we just want to help people on that subject, and we're not financial advisors or anything like that. This is just telling you what we have found, and we encourage you to do your own research. But I was telling them in the chat that I'm going to also put links. If you more than happy to get your email, but we're also going to, maybe from time to time, other people will put a post, that good deal that they found in Telegram with us. So just wanted to mention that.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so Jay, please send me, either come to Telegram, that's going to be the easiest thing, or send me an email at nancy@nancykerner.com. Anybody who's looking for those links, because I have my personal favorites, and they're not all the same. It depends on the currency. So how do we start? Where do we begin? Well, the first step is being grateful for the gift of life. No matter whether you're sick or healthy, no matter what your circumstances are, to be grateful for the gift of life. And if you need help, to ask for help, to ask Spirit. And that's what I do every day. I clear my slate, wipe the whiteboard clean, and begin again, fresh and anew for each day. Being grateful. Self-reflection. This is so important. We're not here to sweep other people's porches. We're just here to sweep ours. And I just really want to say that I will do whatever I can to be with you as we move through this transition. If we lose internet connectivity, don't worry about it. We're moving into Starlink. Have some food, have some money, cash on hand, have a little silver, because this is a new territory. We are the pioneers of the new world. We don't know what it's going to look like exactly. We don't know when the next election will be. I have a feeling that we're not going to have it in November 5th. I have a feeling that we're going to move into that Nasara Jasara, and where the government will need to be removed right away, the current government. And this happens in every nation. And we're seeing resignations and people stepping down. We're seeing billionaires stepping down. We're seeing it all over the alternative media. Now, you're not going to find that on mainstream news. So we need to trust ourselves and trust the people who've gone before us to beat down the grass, who've gone on the trail ahead of us, to send us the crumbs and the calms and the clues to follow the light of love, peace, prosperity, and harmony. And I look forward to being with those of you who will eventually join me in Hawaii for a wonderful experience, or I'll see you in the ethers or on Vision Dancer Television Network. That's a big dream I have of mine too, to have other healers, facilitators, ministers, artists, creators, no religious or political must-dos or have, other than be kind, treat people the way that you want to be treated. And hopefully that's with a gentle heart and soul. For that, I love you. Aloha. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.
2024 is the final battle. If the one after Trump, if they can get Trump, it means they can get you, they can get me, they can get all of us. He is standing in the way, and that can sound like a campaign slogan, but it's very true. Now we're approaching the most important battle of our lives. Now, for the very first time in American history, a sitting president's DOJ has indicted his top political rival ahead of a presidential campaign. When they indicted me for nothing, I said, now the gloves are off. Now we have to say if I can achieve it first. fighting the most important battle of our lives. If you fuck around with us, if you do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
You told me you were drowning, I would not lend a hand. I've seen your face before, my friend, but I don't know if you know who I am. Well, I was there and I saw what you did. I saw it with my own two eyes. Still you couldn't wipe off that grin. I know where you've been. It's all been a pack of lies.
You have a problem with someone, you have to go after them. And it's not necessarily to teach that person a lesson. It's to teach all of the people that are watching a lesson.
The last time we ever met, but I know the reason why.
When we get back in the White House, I will totally obliterate the deep state.
The hurt doesn't show, but the pain still grows. Some stranger to you and me.
I don't really want to have peace with these people who did this to us and are continuing to do this to us. We have to turn the tables on them, give them a dose of their own medicine, and then we can even the playing field, and then we can discuss unity.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. You can find me at nancykerner.com, on social media, and remember the truth about you. You are a powerful and prosperous person.
Are you tired of all the pills in your medicine cabinet? I'm Linda Bamber Olson, the creator of the Wave Watch, a more natural approach with 1,000 frequencies for mind and body. You've got to hear some testimonies from people just like you. I absolutely love this Wave Watch. It has helped me with occasional aches, cramps in my muscles. I twisted my knee a month ago, and the Wave Watch has helped tremendously with the pain while healing. And how about this one from Debbie in Colorado? My left leg was hurt bad enough that I would cry when walking to the doctor. Doctor appointments are $170, and chiropractic sessions were $45 many times for the last 2 years. My hands and neck are stiff. My leg quit throbbing within 5 minutes of the session for bursitis, and 2 hours later, still no pain. Are you tired of all your pills and endless trips to the pharmacy? Why not try the Wave Watch with 1,000 different self-care ideas and put your mind at ease? It's the world's first sound frequency therapy watch. Wave Watch is not connected to the internet. There are no messy cords and patches. There's no monthly fee. It's very simple, easy self-care. And best of all, people are comparing it, saying it's like a med bed on your wrist.
To order your Wave Watch, go to wavewatch.com and be sure to use the discount code Nancy100 at checkout to receive $100 off your order today.